Good evening, friends.
Good evening. Good evening.
Welcome to my story session with Mr. Bikram Dasgupta. Recently, we also had introduced one more section, that is Know Your Charter Members. A lot of people had been asking that they don't know the charter members. So with this, we introduced Know Your Charter Member with this My Story session to take this story forward, and I take immense pleasure to invite Mr. Nitin Deshpande, who is the President of All Scripts. He is heading All India operations of All Scripts. So may I request him to please come on the stage and take this story forward. Thank you so much.
So thank you and good evening to all of you. So I've been a charter member of TiE for probably 2 years now. I haven't been attending too many sessions because I work on the other side of town in Kharadi, and invariably the sessions are here, most of them, and that becomes a challenge. But so Vish actually decided that he's bound to rope me in, and he said, will you please do the honors of introducing and interviewing Mr. Dasgupta. And as soon as he said the name, I said absolutely. It will be a pleasure to do that. And the reason is, Mr. Dasgupta, of course, I had forgotten, but way back when he was with Vertec Computers in Delhi, he had actually selected me, recruited me, and I was all set to join. And unfortunately, my wife told me that, look, I'm not leaving Pune and coming to Delhi. And you know how it goes, right? The final decision is always the wife's. So that I said it's a good opportunity to meet Mr. Dasgupta and learn about all the things that he has done. And he'll take you through his story, and then after that we'll have some question answer session where I will facilitate. But of course, your questions are most welcome. So with that, without any further ado, I would request Mr. Dasgupta to take us through his story. He has a presentation to take us through, and after that we'll have some question answers. Mr. Dasgupta.
Good evening, friends, and thank you for inviting me here. Last year, I think a little over a year back, TiE Kolkata was going through a tough time, and I was literally forced to take over the presidentship of TiE Kolkata. I have been also a charter member of TiE little more than 22 years. But I had never come into the administrative system because I'm too much of a maverick. And any industry association, any such things, I'm a disaster, absolute disaster, because I keep on getting very passionate about everything I do and I mess up the whole system. So I try and stay away, and it's also a good thing to stay away because you can express your opinion and yet not be a part of the system in that sense. I thought I'd continue in TiE like that, but a lot of friends of mine who are global trustees now in TiE Global, they said you can't become a global trustee unless you're a president of TiE. That's a qualification to come into that. So he said you become president of TiE Kolkata, and we had a pretty bad time in TiE Kolkata those days. And so again I want to report the first name. I went and met a very dear friend of mine, and a dear friend of some of you here, senior guys over here. We call him PG, Pradeep Gupta. He owns a magazine called Data Quest, Cyber Media. And Pradeep has been one of the entrepreneurs who have really driven this Indian entrepreneurial movements, whether it is TiE, whether it is Indian Angel Network, which also I am a member. So, and he's a very, very good friend, even from our IIM Calcutta recruiting days. Pradeep is from IIT Kanpur and IIM Calcutta, and I used to go and recruit people from IIM Calcutta. So he's a very dear friend. So I went to him and I said, look, now what to do? These guys have put me on this area and I have to manage now. He said, talk to a guy called Vishy. So I said, who's Vishy? He says, he's the president of TiE Pune, and he's completely turned around TiE Pune. It's really buzzing now, and it's a lot of activities, a lot of things happening there. So I said, that's exactly what I want to do to TiE Kolkata, because TiE Kolkata needs it very badly. And then I got in touch, and like Nitin, I did not know that Vishy knew me. It's a small world, because I've been there for a while. And he knew my background, and particularly the HCL and PCL days of mine. So we got along very well. We had a 45-minute chat, and whatever TiE Calcutta did after I took over. Majority of that was borrowed and stolen from TiE Pune. So I think
You get a turnaround chapter award.
so he got a turnaround chapter award. Did you?
Yeah.
I was a finalist. So see, that he was Dhoni, I was Saurav Ganguly. So I think that's the difference. So this year, TiE Kolkata was a finalist for last year. Detroit won it anyway. So I think on this happy note, it's a very emotional thing for me to come and talk on TiE, because in the morning I addressed my son's business partners in the 5th floor, and they were all entrepreneurs. And there were about 60 or 70 of them. And I get almost tears in my eyes when I see so many entrepreneurs in a room, and I feel very emotional about it. So this is one such area. I'm a member now, after all those rejects, of 2 associations. One is TiE, and the other is NASSCOM. And I guess all of you understand why. I mean, though I'm in the committees of many, but I don't go there. I want to start this exercise discussion with you today. You see that seagull flying there? That's my story. I can end it right now. One of the books of the writer who has influenced me hugely is Richard Bach. And Jonathan Livingston Seagull is a story which, I've said this many times before, perhaps kind of makes me feel very, very excited, and in some ways it talks about me, what Jonathan Livingston Seagull is. How many of you have read that book? Let me see the people who haven't, so I can still say. Thank you. I bought about 400 copies of this book to distribute it to youngsters. Every time I go to any international bookstore, I buy 10, 15 copies and bring it back to my office, and I just keep giving to people because I feel that should be a story which everybody should read. And that's a story which we have tried to follow in our life. So that's why that bird, if you see a Globsyn presentation, you would see lot of other seagulls behind, and they have colored the first one blue and the rest are black. You will see a Globsyn's thing. But here, since I was talking my story, there's only one seagull here, and he's quite alone. So this alone story reminds me of what my mother told me. She has been a phenomenal influence in my life. And the day I was going to Kharagpur, many, many years back, and she came to the Sialda railway station to see me off. And she said, I get really goosebumps when I say this. She said, you're entering a world where everybody is going to be better than you. Learn to identify yourself. I was 16 years old. I'm saying this after so many years. Learn to identify yourself. And I want to tell you one thing, Bikram, today. If this world contains 10 people, it should be Bikram and 9 others. And if it contains 100 people, it should be Bikram and 99 others. And I get goosebumps. This is what I am. I try to do that. I failed miserably in doing that. But however, this has been the biggest inspiration my mother gave me. And my mother was not an archetypal woman. I used to go and teach math. You know, most of people like us, we are good in maths. So I used to teach maths to a 10th standard, I was in IIT those days, 10th standard youngster. And they used to live just opposite my house. So in the night, his parents have gone to Calcutta, we were in Durgapur. I used to take that mattress and go there, put the mattress on the floor and teach him maths, and sleep there the night and come back. And I used to smoke Will's filter. I was only in first year. And there were 2 categories of smokers in IIT. One was the Charminar types, which was 33 paisa a packet. And the other was the rich and, Nouveau